Good evening, Guyanese, fellow countrymen. Whether you live in the city, you live on the coast, you live on the hinterland, wherever you view this program, I want to welcome you on behalf of the set of choices to this evening's program. And as we approach the 41st anniversary as a cooperative republic, I want to remind us or draw our attention to a line of the song Let Us Cooperate for Guyana. It says, see we do it right together. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Those are the words of the song. And I'm referring here specifically to encourage us that as we continue to go through this COVID-19 pandemic, that we do it right together. And we can do it if we continue to exercise due caution and due care. We follow the guidelines and all of that. Vaccines have been distributed and continue to be distributed. And we want to say thanks to the ministry and all those who are responsible. But I have learned that even with the vaccine, it will take about 2 weeks for one to develop immunity. And given that fact, I want to encourage all of us, whether you had the vaccine or you'll get in the vaccine, let us continue to follow those simple guidelines. Wear a mask, social distance, and sanitize as much as possible. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Gentlemen.
We just want to say to the general populace out there that COVID is real. And apparently some persons have not come to the realization that this thing is around and it has far-reaching implications, consequences to all our lives. So we have reasons to be concerned. One, it interferes with the economics of individuals and of the country by extension. If in an environment where COVID is prevalent, people can't do business the way they should be doing business, and their income might very well be affected. So there's an economic aspect on the individual as well as upon the society. The issue of education is important. Schools cannot be reopened the way that they should be reopened so that our students could actually have the kind of their cause and by extension the cause, which said what we have seen in this year in terms of learning loss, there is something called learning loss, meaning that there have been no contact with our students. And this learning loss will manifest itself in 10 years' time when you will see issues in relation to literacy, in relation to students being able to matriculate. That is moved from one level of education to another. So the longer the students are inside it, the greater the impact that will manifest itself in a few years' time. And of course, we have the whole issue of death. We can't afford to have, we're already a small population, and for us to have our people dying, people who could make a contribution to the growth and expansion of our nation, we could see again the implications of COVID. And I heard, Dr. Lee, you mentioned the vaccination. Vaccination is not a solution in its entirety to the problem that we have. We have to change the way we think, the way we conduct ourselves, and we have to be disciplined. One person, the longer we stay outside, the longer people spend time, the shorter time we spend inside our homes, it means that we will have more time to spend outside. So what we're doing, we're spending a lot of time outside, which means that we will be called upon to spend a lot of time inside due to lockdowns and so on. So this thing is real. People are dying around us. People cannot be educated the way they should be educated, and people cannot be enjoy economics the way they should enjoy it. So we want to say to the nation that let us continue to observe those protocols. Gentlemen.
And on that note, Pastor Hudson, I was listening to an interview with Trevor Noah and Bill Gates. People question whether he's even credible to bring his perspective to the situation, but he has highlighted that the effective vaccination is one of the signals and one of the signs that this period is going to be coming to a close and we'll be transitioning back into some sort of semblance of normalcy. And I believe that over the last year, we've been preparing people for the pandemic and preparing people to take care and to prepare and to exist within these sort of systems. But at a time like this, I think it's important for us to also consider preparing persons for after the pandemic. We encourage persons to wear their masks, wash their hands, social distance, and everything. And those are still essential. It's essential until the effective vaccination process is fully executed. But in the meanwhile, while we prepare to survive or while we still focus on our own survival, I believe it's also critical for us to create visions, to look ahead and see what will the future of the world look like. And something that really popped out to me was one of the moves that the Ministry of Education in Guyana did when it came to understanding. First, they actually endorsed online education, and they started different initiatives in order to bring that sort of system to the Guyanese people. And using that form of communication and teaching, it might not be effective for everyone, but it will allow a larger number of persons to tap into high-level resources that who may never have been able to tap into those sort of resources. And the number of opportunities that are going to come out of innovative initiatives like that could very well transform the landscape of Guyana and might even help with issues like you mentioned, learning loss. So my word today is just to ensure that we plan for after this pandemic. We're still in the pandemic. We still have to focus on survival and existence, but it's also important for us to consider what the future is going to look like.
Well, while we think about this, I would like to recognize one of us who just crossed the threshold of a very significant year in his life. We record on Thursday, he turns 50 years today. And the guy looks good, man. The guy looks good, Assistant Pastor Paul Benjamin, 50 years. You could imagine that. Yeah, you come in a close second, though. When I was 50, I kind of look a little bit, I'm not saying, but congratulations, Paul. We celebrate with you in the midst of the pandemic. You are still growing. You're growing older gracefully. And I am grateful that they fed you some good food in Anns Grove. And now in where you live in South Prineville, you also being fed good food, and you're being taken care of. Thank you very much. God bless you. We love you. We value you, and please stay safe, yourself and your wife. Please stay safe. And I would like to come back to the topic. I got to sneak that one in. Come back to the topic here. Listen, we are talking to you. We're Guyanese. We live here. Our jobs, most of us, you see in this panel, we have to meet people on a daily basis. Only God knows what we have been exposed to. There are people who don't ask me any question, but rush in and quickly hug. And when they hug me, then they say, sorry, but I just needed to do that. People suffering from COVID fatigue. And some people are extremely depressed. We have some tough situations. I get the impression sometimes that many of us do not believe that this is a real problem. Why? I am not trying to be pessimistic. I look at how we conduct ourselves. We go to a line, people are there without a mask. We go to a wedding reception, people are there without masks. We go to a party, I hear they're saying it's a secret party and those kinds of things. Well, I don't know any one of these guys around here who has ever gone to those things, but it's kind of tough. Some people are not taking this thing seriously. Should we take it seriously? Josh, should we take this COVID-19 matter in Guyana? We've lost 189 of our countrymen. Should we take this thing seriously?
We definitely should. And as you reference 189 persons, I want to reference about 8,000 plus persons being tested positive, which is just over 1% of our population of the recently recorded census of 800,000. I would like to share with us the experience of a medical doctor whom I spoke with recently, who shared with me her experience. She was tested positive for COVID. She's a mother, a wife, a hard worker, and she was tested positive. But at the time she was tested, she had no symptoms or indications that she was positive. She was asymptomatic. However, after she went through the period of quarantine, home quarantine, and whatever the protocol is, it was only after that period that she manifested severely the symptoms of COVID-19. We're talking severe heart-related matters, severe respiratory-related matters. And this was after she'd been tested positive and had tested negative subsequently, saying that, she's clear of COVID, but the symptoms came after. And that reminds us, that should encourage us, that should warn us, that we cannot take what our eyes see for granted. We can't just look at this thing, oh, this person's not coughing, oh, this person has on a mask, they're well dressed. No, it's not as simple as that. We need to be encouraged that persons can be positive and asymptomatic, and we need to continue to be responsible, even as we go into the season of celebrating after hard work. And you mentioned Pastor Paul and his birthday celebration. I'm sure he's going to celebrate, but do so responsibly. And that's what we want to encourage persons to do. Let's celebrate responsibly after hard work, social distance, probably stay home, virtually, use Innovate, unless we have to mourn after hard work, and we don't need that.
The human response is always necessary. You can make all the laws, put all the rules, but there is a human response. First, a personal response or a responsibility, and then secondly, the enforcing of that responsibility for those of us who desire to be rebellious. It is clear that we have a problem, and it seems as if the seriousness is more visible to our external community than to us who live right here. And so I just want to add my voice to all of us to do the right thing. What is the right thing? Wear a mask at all times once you're in public, practice social distancing, practice sanitization. And if we do that, we are going to protect ourselves and our elderly, who I'm extremely concerned about. For some of them don't go anywhere, but yet still they are at severe risk because of our irresponsibility. Come on, I'm sure we can do better.
As Guyanese, we have a fun-loving culture. Part of our culture, we make fun of it. We don't take much for seriously. Recently, I heard a song. It was speaking of disappearing. There was a boat off the coastline of Guyana, and by the time the authorities got there, the boat disappeared. So that was in the morning, and by the afternoon, a song was out. I heard the song the following day where I'm living, but when I woke up that morning, I heard the song. So the same day, the song was created. It went to the studio and it was produced, and fun was made of that incident. And then they added other stuff that disappeared and this disappeared, and that's our culture. Nothing is wrong with that. That's the positivity of having a good culture. We like to have fun. We joke. We are warm people. Guyanese are a warm people. We embrace everyone. In the country I'm living in right now, in one of the countries in Europe, one of the things that we do, you don't find that here. We would be going about our business, and someone would come up to us and say, "Can you direct me to wherever this office is or where this building is?" And we just wouldn't direct. we would go with them and we would walk with them at least 3/4 of the way, if not the entire way, and say, you go that way. And that's how we are as a people. We're warm. Here, persons will look at you and they may not respond. I have experienced that. Or they may look at you and say, give you the directions, you have to figure it out yourself. The point I'm trying to make is part of our culture is fun and jovial. But COVID-19 has nothing to do with being funny and jovial. This is serious. People are dying. Persons are dying, not only in Guyana, but around the world. So yes, persons were saying, COVID, it won't catch me. How do you know that? Oh, COVID, it is not real. How do you know that?
Not only dying, Court, suffering. Not only dying, but suffering before they die.
Deacon Court, you spoke about that fun. The fun that you're talking about, that is expressed many times in our families. And, talking about family, I would like to express my thanks to Bishop Messiah and the Choices team for those warm wishes and sentiments. I really appreciate it. You are truly family. And so as we continue to massage the whole notion of the COVID-19 and its effects and what is happening in our world today, I truly believe, like Dr. Lee expressed earlier, we do it right. I think we can do it right at the helm of the family, at the helm of the home. Why I say that is because I think we can step up our sanitization practices at home. Let us be accountable to each other in the home, because when we leave our homes, we will then be accustomed to those practices and continue to engage in whatever we do and make sure that we continue with them. I still go to supermarkets and public places, and people just barge into the supermarket when there is a sink right at the front there, and they do not do any hand washing and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, as we engage each other, if we believe COVID is behind us, if we believe we've passed the worst, notwithstanding our belief, let us do it right. Let us ensure that we continue the practices, because it is a matter of life and death. And we have to ensure that we watch out for each other, take that responsibility and watch out for each other.
I was looking at a documentary from one of the stations in America, and I saw persons coming in from the airport, and they had something like a screen set up, and this person come with the phone and put the phone like this, and the reading come off, and all the fellow there say, go. When some others, when they come and show nothing, and they put them one side. So the COVID now, like if they want to place it in your phones, your smartphones, so when you come through now, you just point to the screen and it say that you're okay. These different type of things that they're trying with. Soon that each and every person would have to get that, because we weren't able to travel. We're just showing the type of things that they're bringing in, and you have to go along with it, or else you will be leave at a loss.
Well, what Millie, you're dealing with the technology, and most of our Guyanese people that we are trying to reach now, they are not going to be traveling in any plane, going any place. They're just going to the market, going and to their friend, going and jump up someplace. And while these are all legitimate activities that they are accustomed doing, stand up in the corner, and this is Friday, and Friday afternoon, they have a line with their friends, and they haven't seen a friend in a long while. We are very relaxed. And why are we relaxed? In Barbados, I really want to thank the Prime Minister of Barbados for giving us the 3,000 vaccines. that she did the other day. That's fantastic. I think the government, they're rolling it out right now in our country, but this is real Caribbean neighborliness illustrated by Barbados. And she has had cause to shut down her beaches. The beaches in Barbados are simply beautiful. If you've never gone there, whenever you get a break and you have the opportunity, go and enjoy the beaches in Barbados. Simply beautiful, beautiful. And I would really want to encourage us to understand that we have some tough times, and we need to, notwithstanding, we want to relax, but there's a risk. Please put on the mask. Please sanitize your hands. Please socially distance. I don't know if walls is in place now. If people do a lot of walls when they're dancing, but people might be, as they say in this country, jock up, and they're doing a lot of that. Listen, all of these things have probably some measure of enjoyment, but major risks. And we are appealing to you to examine what you're doing, because the situation, Dr. Watson, it's real outside there, isn't it? It's real outside
Yes,
there.
Bishop, I think it is you who asked.
It is real, Bishop, and this is just who would have contracted the disease. There are people who've actually contracted the disease that we have had reports, and they're still venturing out, and that is another sad situation that we're in. You know that you have this thing, and still they're going and operating as though they don't have this disease. And so we want to caution those in the confines of their homes, even as they would have been diagnosed COVID, they're still going and sitting with people and conversing and having normal relationships, and they know that they're positive. Then, like you mentioned earlier, Bishop, we have this shame culture. People have this disease and they don't want people to know that they have this disease. They're hiding it as a secret. But think about you hiding this thing as a secret. How could you get help? And in this case, it is not just you and your disease, but you are capable of passing it on to somebody. And that's why we're supposed to contain ourselves and follow the protocols.
Bishop, you had asked a series of rhetorical questions that are ringing in my head. Is this a serious matter? Yes, it is. Are we at risk? Yes, we are. Are we doing our best? No, we are not. Should we be concerned? Yes, we should. And I just want to echo those rhetorical questions, because truthfully, if we really ask ourselves those questions and we're very honest with ourselves, we know what the answers are.
No, Reverend,
I'm thinking
that as you ask those rhetorical questions, it is serious, indeed it is, and we are concerned. You know, last Saturday, to show our concern, last year, we have been distributing hampers to members of the community and to the body of Christ. And something that we did last Saturday and Sunday, we placed masks in each one of those hampers that we distributed. Why we did that is because we recognize that not only that, you know, persons who might have lost jobs and all of that, they might be somewhat in need of food stuff and all of that. But we recognize that, you know, it's pointless just giving persons food stuff and you not seeking to protect them from the virus that is raging. So we made a concerted effort to have both food stuff and masks placed in those hampers. So we are giving persons at the same time sensitizing them that even while you're eating, you enjoy. I mean, we want you to protect yourself and to protect those who you might be eating with and those you might want to share things with. So we understand the seriousness and we are concerned about protecting our fellow Guyanese.
I'm thinking one of the reasons why, you know, people might be so lax is because we have a very high recovery rate. I mean, our recovery rate is one of the highest. We have a 90% um, recovery rate. I mean, and compared to the US recovery rate is 65%. So I'm thinking, people might be saying, all right, forget it. We showing signs that we're recovering fast and everything. So praise God. But I want to bring to our attention too, our rate, if we look in comparison with the US, our rate of deaths to cases is higher than the US. And so I don't know if we don't think along that line, percentage wise, we are not doing very well. I mean, when we look at the US and we see the deaths, I mean, they have over 500,000 deaths. And that might sound very, very scary. We have 189 as of when we're recording this on Thursday. We might say, all right, that in comparison to the US is not too much. But percentage wise, we are 2.27. That is our rate. The US rate is 1.76. So we have a lot to be concerned about. And all those questions that you asked, Bishop and Reverend Asana, we need to be very, very careful. We're not doing very well at all. We need to stop being laxed and focus on what we need to focus on, all the protocols, and do exactly what we need to do.
Well, we continue to be concerned, and I have a sense that you are concerned too. You might be sitting on Orange Walk looking at this program. You might be in your favorite bar at your home. You might be wherever you hang out. And saying, these guys again, this is not a real problem. We beg to differ. We have a real problem in our nation. And this is an appeal coming alongside all the other the other appeals being made by different groups. We are not seeking to distance ourselves from any program, be it government, private sector, whatever. We have a serious problem. Let us wake up, please. And let us be determined. We will protect ourselves, we'll protect our loved ones, and we will protect those people that we come into contact with. This is Choices. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.
I'm Celicia on behalf of the set, reminding you that your whole life is the sum of your choices. God bless you.